Hey everybody, Joe Conklin in the shop. Still working on those two market car projects. They're moving along. The 1948 D-28. At this point, I'm pretty far along. Bridge is on. Just made a saddle blank to fit in here, and since we last talked, I've reset the neck. Got a nice fit, angle. I have refretted the fingerboard. You'll notice that there's just a rough level on those frets because my next step is to string it up. You know, an initial evaluation, string it up to see where everything, you know, my neck reset, my refret to straighten the neck, and see how all that geometry relates with string tension on, since I've redone this whole area here and this whole area here too. Another thing that I did was I removed all the wonderful thin red tape purfling, if you remember, and I'm still working on sort of it was easy enough to take that tape off. I'm still trying to clean the instrument and make the area that was directly under the tape blend with the area that was not. Because directly under the tape, it was protected from UV light, so you can still see a little trace of where that tape was. It's pretty challenging. I worked on the peg head here. There was a piece of tape all the way around there. So you can see part of it's shiny, part of it's kind of dull. I tried to clean it, and I did clean just a ton of dirt off there, all the way around the peg head, on the edges, on the tip there, on the back. And although part of that process is you are cleaning dirt off, but you're also taking existing dirt that is not cleaned off and you're just sort of smearing it around, which makes for a challenge, you know. But because you want to get it shiny, but not too shiny, you know. And I'm pretty happy with where the front of the peg head is right now. And also, I cleaned up the tuners. Just steel wool and a nice metal polish thing that I used, and lubed the tuners. You know, you can put a drop of lubrication right in that hole there. The other thing, let's remove one of these just to look. Thing that I did. So these are this is a 1948, so this is a closed back geared Clouson style tuner, but it does not have a screw-on bushing on the top. It has a press fit bushing. So the tuner comes off and it looks like this. You see these two tabs here? Those essentially hold that cover on, this part right here. And that helps to hold the whole tuner together and to make this such that it turns smoothly, but it doesn't have a lot of wobble in it. So one thing that I did after I cleaned it was, you can see how the metal is folded right here on the edge, and there's a crease right there. I put that in the vise, padded vise, so that I could squeeze that together a little and just make that, and then put it in the vise and squeeze that tab down, and then I put it on that part of the vise, which is an anvil. Took a ball peen hammer and tapped those tabs down a little bit tighter, just to squeeze the whole thing together and just make it a little more tight, and then putting some lubrication in there, and all that while just cleaning the housing off. Not trying to make it look brand new, but just trying to make it look well cared for. Here you can see I just scraped some of that. There's some dirt still on the tip there. I can scrape that with my fingernail, so that, you know, that's the question. How far do I go? I want to clean that up now. I will do that. But that's basically what I did with the tuners while cleaning the peg head, which, you know, just got me ready for this next step, which is that first restring, and to see where string tension and the movement in the body that string tension is going to cause. Where that leaves me with how straight is the neck and the relief in there, and is that proper, and you know what I can do with the saddle height here. So there's that project. Like I said, coming along good, and then I just have to, as usual, look at the cosmetics as I get closer to finishing all the structural stuff and try to bring it together. So that's where we are on that one. Let's take a look at our 1970 rebrace project. Back is still off. I continued on with removing the braces. Actually, so first I had this spreader in here at the waist, which you know, got the sides, and I was working in the right position. I'm working on all the braces in the lower back. I did not have this lower back spreader in there, so I would have access to all that. And you can see I finished off with the removal of the remaining X brace and bridge plate. So that all came off. Bridge plate, you know, is glued to the edge there, so that remains on there. And a couple of the X brace spots, because they were scalloped down to such a thin spot, and I was taking them off, they just fractured right there. That's how, gives us a pretty good idea of how weak that brace was in that area. Yeah, I think it's like that. Anyhow, got that all removed, and I still have a little bit of work to do there. I want to take these two finger braces up. I want to clean up the interior of the top. There's a few little water stains that I'd like to remove. Stain from an old pickup putty that was put on there. And consider what I want to do with the braces in the upper bout. They are not problematic as far as they were untouched in the scalloping process, but in the process of deciding how I'm going to configure that X brace. Right now it's not forward X, you know, like a standard X. So this space right here is not forward. So in an older, one of the things I'm doing is converting this 1970 brace pattern into something more like a 1930s pre-war brace pattern, and I'm definitely gonna scallop the braces. And so in addition to that change, I can consider the forward X too. So that pretty much has me taking these finger braces off. And there's also the consideration where if I took the rest of the upper bout braces off, I can make the whole thing a little more uniform. All braces all made out of Adirondack spruce that I'm going to make them out of. So that's some decision points. And there's a teeny little bit of top damage that was created during the removal of the bridge plate that has to be re-glued and sort of cleaned up with this whole thing here. So that's where I'm at with that. And once I make those decisions and continue with this cleanup, the next thing will be is to start with the brace, you know, the actual replacement braces themselves, and prepping them from a block of Adirondack spruce brace wood. So I'll show you that soon. Get some brace wood together and start making these braces and shaping the bottom of them to fit this mold or this work board that the whole mold is sitting on, and that whole process. So yeah, that'll be some interesting stuff. Like I said, some decisions that have to be made there. And as I go through the process, I think those decisions will present themselves. You know, so there you go. 2 restoration projects moving along, and that's what I've got for you in the shop today. So thanks for tuning in, Any questions, suggestions, send them our way. We'll be happy to answer them. And thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time in the shop. Thanks.